Good afternoon. It is Tuesday and we're at the end of the work day. I've just been to the garden centre to drop Mum off. She's having a coffee with her friends, and I was under strict instructions not to buy any new plants. I was like, I'm just looking. Anyway, she was already in the cafe, so she didn't see me come out. But technically, I haven't bought any new plants because this one was reduced to £1, and I had £1 on my loyalty card. So actually, it's a free plant, so I did not buy this plant. And this one, which wasn't free, this one is was half price. It was £8.50 down from £17, and it is a passiflora. And technically this is not a new plant because I lost my passiflora in the winter, which actually Mum had bought me. So this is a replacement plant, so I didn't buy a new plant technically. Anyway, I might get those in a bit, but it's raining again, so I'm not sad about the rain. I'm really happy that the rain means I don't have to keep watering, so I'm very much welcome the rain, but it does make things a bit tricky in terms of harvesting and putting new stuff out. I could do my July sea sowings here in the greenhouse, so I might do that. But I have been to the plot this morning before it was raining. I had the grass clippings to take, and I did do a quick harvest. So I got the last of my first earlies up, which is the most impressive potato. That's probably the biggest. I mean, it's the first early, so you don't expect them to be massive, but look, there's no damage on any of those. And they're just such a beautiful colour, the Red Duke of York. I really like them. There was one where a slug had bored all the way in, and in fact the potato was virtually hollow. It had eaten that much. But for the most part, Red Duke of York have been a winner this year. So I need to write that down and remember it for next year. What has been less of a winner, although they look fairly impressive in the basket like that. There you go, that's a nice big potato, but on closer inspection you will see holes. Some holes bigger than other holes, but every single potato has a hole, and some of them still have the slugs inside. They may have all come out now, but yeah, I don't. Even the tiniest of potatoes still has a bit of damage. So those were Marispard, and I shall not be growing Marispard again at the plot. Could potentially try them in buckets, but there are so many varieties to try. So I think if I just strike this one from the list and try another. What else? Oh, while we're on potatoes, this wasn't at the garden centre today. This was at the garden centre yesterday, which was perfectly legitimate being there because Dory went to the groomer. She's had her hair cut this week, and while she's at the groomer, I have to wait around because there's no point driving back again, and so I wait around in the garden centre, and I only bought compost and some Christmas potatoes, and I went for Pentland Javelin because I haven't done this one before. So they had Charlotte and they had Desiree. I feel like they had another one that I've already grown, but I haven't grown Pentland Javelin before, so I'm going to give those ones a try. And they have good disease resistance. And now I always think I'd plant my Christmas potatoes too late, although I've tended to do well with Christmas potatoes actually. These say plant July to September and harvest November onwards, and I noticed on the back that it said plant as soon as you get them, so there's no chitting, I guess, of Christmas potatoes. I can't remember that I chitted Christmas potatoes before, so I'm just going to stick those in. And I think I will do these in one of the tubs because, hello Dory, in case of frost, because I did well with my potatoes this Christmas, even though we had those terrible frosts, because I had them in a tub and I could bring them into the greenhouse. Although thinking about it, actually, I think I just wrapped them in bubble wrap. Anyway, tub. And I did harvest one more thing. Dory, hello. Do you want to show everybody your haircut? Come on then. Come on then. Oh my goodness, look at you. Look at you. You're so beautiful. Hey, we can see your eyes again. There we go. There we go. Hey, supermodel dog. Mwah. Right, let's go get the peas. Before I show you the peas, I can't remember now. Have I deleted the footage? But I did also harvest potatoes from the home garden that were volunteer potatoes that established themselves in the hotbed that I made for the greenhouse. Okay, so you may remember I made a hotbed for the greenhouse. It was unimpressive, didn't get very hot, but while it was in here not doing much, it was growing potatoes, because one of the things that I put into the hotbed was vegetable peelings. Also the rabbit bedding, which has vegetable peelings in. Anyway, one of those peelings clearly sprouted and created actually a nice lot of potatoes with no damage. Don't know what the variety is, of course, but they were lovely. They were lovely, I have to say. The best potatoes I've had have all been complete accidents. But, you know, things changing, because these are good potatoes. What I would say is that the yield wasn't huge, really. So this is from 2 plants. It's not a huge amount of potatoes. Anyway, the other thing that I have harvested today is peas. So some of these were from the allotment in between the potatoes, and some of these were from the home garden. They're all onward or early onward peas, and yeah, they're nice. But again, like, the yield, when you pick the pods, there's loads of pods, and then you pod them and you've got like one side dish. Still, it's fun, isn't it? In fact, these might not make it to side dish. Okay, the other thing hanging around the greenhouse at the moment is some houseplants, actually. So I brought all my houseplants outside for a little fun shower, and gave them a good water, fed them. So hopefully they're a bit happier. But I didn't put back in any of the ones that felt like they needed some immediate attention, and they've been in the greenhouse for the last couple of days. So I think that's probably my #1 priority. Over there. So for instance, I've brought in anything that has a baby that needs taking out and potting on its own. So this mother-in-law's tong was well, it was probably that big when I bought it. It was from the same summer fete that I mentioned the delphinium seeds came from in last week's episode. And so yeah, it's got really big, it's very healthy. It's too big for its pot. You can see the pot is bulging. That's not just the new shoot, that's like the tuber inside has got huge. So that needs a repot. And yeah, just other things that have produced babies. So the money plant has got a little baby here, and this kind of aloe succulent type plant has quite a few babies around the edges now. So yes, I'm going to make up a very gritty compost. for the houseplants. And when the rain stops, we're going to harvest some onions. Okay, compost. Okay, I've done a couple and I'll do one with you now. Let me show you the ones I've done. So there we go, there's the money plant, or is it Palea? Is that how you pronounce it? And there's its baby. And then there's the aloe succulenty thingy. And it's had 5 babies. There we go, so we'll see how they do. And I'm going to do the mother-in-law's tongue with you now. Right, I'm quite interested to see how this is going to come out of the pot. I think it's going to be quite impressive. Wow. In fact, I think there's two babies and another forming there actually. So the first thing I'm doing is just sort of getting some of the excess soil off of there to expose what I'm working with. Now, I am no expert on house plants and how to repot them and things like that, but I'm going to give it a go. I've done it before. It's just a way you get free plants, and house plants are so expensive. As I say, I've just been to the garden centre and Mum and I were looking at some of the ones that we already own and how expensive they are to buy new. A lot of our house plants we've either got in the poorly corner at the garden centre, or we've propagated for each other from shoots like this, or from putting them in water, or cuttings in soil. So it's absolutely worth doing to get free plants. Right, now I'm not entirely sure how to detach these from the mama plant or the mother-in-law plant. Seem very much attached. Right, before I give you bad advice and ruin my plant, I'm going to do some googling. Okay, a quick Google basically tells me to be brave. So, sharp knife, clean. Okay. So, okay. I'm just going to go for it. So it says, as long as you've got some root and green, you're all good. So I'm going to go quite close to the mama plant, I think, because obviously she's got a lot of root. Okay, there we go. Whoop. And I'm going to do this one as well. Gosh, this knife is sharp. Yeah, it's got some of the tuber, but also some actual roots on it, so that's good. Just realised I'm waving this in my face as I was saying that. Now, what about this one? I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to see what a nubbin will do. There we go. It's got some roots. It's got a bit of green. Okay. And then, yeah, that looks okay. I think we're all right. Okay, so this one needs a bigger pot because it really distorted the shape of this one, and I don't like these pots really. Let's see, what will you go in? What I should do, and what I always mean to do, is think about what the ornamental pot it's going to go into, and therefore what plastic pot will fit into that. That's forward thinking. Let me go see. Okay, ceramic pot, rather old-fashioned looking one. I think my cousin got me this for my birthday. I like it. Now, what will fit in it. Right, that is a perfect fit. And that seems like a good fit for the mother-in-law's tongue. Look at this. Never usually this efficient. Right. I want it to sit not too close to the top because I want to put the layer of grit on top, and you'll have noticed I put grit on top of all of those plants. That's not just to make it look good. If you've had a problem with fungus gnats, and I think all of us who love houseplants have probably had a problem with fungus gnats at some point, the best way I've found of dealing with them, and I do feel like I cracked it because I've had much less this year, is to put grit on top of the plants. A nice thick layer so that the gnats can't get to the surface of the soil, which is where they like to breed. Other things you can do that help is bottom water, which I do, and just kind of have your sticky papers about to get any adults that are about before they can have their babies, which I'm sure I read they have like 300 baby gnats every 24 hours or something like that. I may be completely making that up, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Right, so let me get this one in its pot. There we go. I know I just said about bottom watering, but in the case of repotting, you want the roots to settle in and make sure there are no air pockets. That's why I was firming down around the sides really well as well, because the root ball was quite a tight fit with the pot, so you really want to make sure that the soil is getting down the sides. But yeah, happy with that. And now I've got three little babies to pot up, and we'll see how they do. And make good gifts. Mother-in-law's tongue. I know, do people feel that that's an old-fashioned house plant? I really like it. It's so structural. It's very structural. Okay, pots for these. There we go. One plant becomes 4. I'm not quite sure how the nubbin is going to do. It looks super cute. This is going to grow in a funny direction. I think I should straighten that one out actually. I can foresee later problems with that one if I leave it like that. That's better. So it's had to go a bit into the corner, but yeah, that'll be much better than it growing sideways. There we go, some little succulents potted up. This sad one repotted. And then all of those ones, plus these, which had got little aerial roots. They'd been drying out after the plant sort of shed all of these leaves, so we'll see what happens. While I'm next to the lime, look how many baby limes are on this. I keep knocking them off, which isn't great, but I'm guessing you can't have that many limes growing off one tiny branch, so perhaps they would be falling off of their own accord anyway eventually. But yeah, I'm hopeful for some limes this year. While we're looking, we have a little cucumber coming. A while to go yet, but promising. Plant looks a bit sad, doesn't it? I have fed these and they're all potted up in new compost. And we also have little loafers. Little one up there. I don't have high hopes for the loofah, but it's fun to see what it's doing. These sweet potatoes have put on a lot of growth since they got in their tub, so that's exciting. And since last week's single tomato, a few more have appeared. A couple of, oh, it's very hard to focus in the jungle. There we go. Another couple there. Yeah. Oh, and the calendula is flowering as well. I will do while I'm in here with the tomatoes is pick some of this basil, because you can see it's going to start to bolt. So I'm going to take it actually quite far down. Ooh. Okay. So taking the top off, and hopefully it can keep going now and bush out a bit more. Oh gosh, the smell. There's nothing like it, is it? The smell of basil. One second. I'm just finishing up. Somebody wants her walk. Okay, yes, we're gonna go. Walkies in a minute. Go on then, you get ready. Go get ready. That'll only fall off for so long. She's found a toy. That was a bit different from my regular programming, so doing houseplanty stuff, but I hope that was of some interest. Regular programming will now resume. Not quite now, because I'm going to go walk the dog, so I'll come back perhaps tomorrow after work. And what we definitely need to do, okay, I'm making myself accountable, saying it on the video, we need to harvest the gooseberries. They are so ready, they are so ripe. Tomorrow, dog walk. Good morning. Oh dear, it's early. I've only just got up, made myself a cup of tea, and I've come out into the garden. Hi Dory. Before work to harvest the gooseberries. Mum and I a couple of days ago went in under the netting to try one, and they are so ready. They're incredibly sweet. There's barely a hint of sourness. So I get my kneeling mat, definitely gloves, because I'm not sure I can carry all these and my tea. Ooh, soil in my tea as soon as I came out here. What was I saying? Oh, I'm off to Birmingham today and tomorrow, which means long days, but good days. We're at Woodbrooke for a writing retreat, so yeah, I'll give you an update on their vegetable patch towards the end of the video. Oh, you little slug. You little slug. Actually, you're a snail. We see you. There we go. It's very difficult. Very difficult to focus with these bars. Oh, there we go. There he is. Hello. Oh, gone again. Right, let's take you to the compost heap. Come on, little fellow. Here we go. Now, I'm under no illusion that popping all these slugs and snails into the compost heap really has any effect. But as I said last week, makes me feel a bit better. Still tidy over here. Still haven't done anything with this. There you go. Join your friends in there. we go. That's some nice big gooseberries. So that's the red variety. And then here's the green ones. Ah. Hello. Oop. I might have been keeping the birds off, but not necessarily the slugs. Dory seems excited by what might be in there. It's gooseberries, Dory. It's gooseberries, look. So I've got my basket. Let's see how many we can get. Well, I thought I was hoping for too much when I picked this big basket, but it's pretty much full. It's amazing, isn't it? They're definitely more green than red, and the green are hard to find because you keep thinking you've got them all. Well, that one's broke. You keep thinking you've got them all, but then there's another. So there's a big fat red one. Let's try it. Yeah, barely a hint of sourness. Let's try a green one. Nice big one. It's a green one. I think I prefer the green, to be honest. I'm going to have these on breakfast this morning. Not an entire basket full. Most of these are destined for the freezer, I suspect. But So I've left some on the bushes, some that I've missed, I'm sure, because those green ones, every time I thought I'd finished, I was like, oh, there's another bunch. But some that were damaged and some had fallen to the ground, so they can be for the birds and the insects. Earwigs certainly seem to like gooseberries, but otherwise they've been uninfected by any pests. Yeah, the majority are perfect. While we're here, we did harvest an onion yesterday, so clearly this is a bolted onion, and as I was passing I just sort of ripped it out of the ground, but yeah, although it's bolted, it's still got a nice little head on it, so that won't store particularly, but the ones that are bolted I'll use first. But there are plenty more still to come up and on the front garden, but I don't have time for that now. I have to go to work. So my final thing to do before work is just to pick some bits and pieces for Jay's rabbits, so they get treats for providing me with their poop. So as an extra special treat, I thought we'd look at the carrot bed. So when Mum and I were in the garden the other day, we decided to pull a couple of the carrots, and there are carrots in here. They were all the yellow ones, so I was picking the biggest, so maybe the yellow were maturing faster than others. But let's see what's in there now. I'm trying to pick ones, because I never really did thin these, so I'm trying to pick ones that are a bit crowded, so they might be smaller anyway. This little yellow one. Oh, I got a yellow. Oh, and a tiny red one. So yeah, they could do with having a little bit longer, but there are carrots. There are carrots. One for Benny and one for Bertie. One for you, Dory. You do like carrot. A bit soily. Want that? No? Oh, you want the yellow one? There we go. Little box for the rabbits. And hopefully all the insects have now come out of the gooseberries. So let's quickly have breakfast before I set out. Little grate on the feeder next door there. It's the next morning, so I'd hoped to film something last night when I got in from work, but didn't get in till late, so dinner and bed. But I've got an hour before I have to set out now. There's a cake in the oven. It's my colleague Stephen's kind of last day that I'll probably see him at work, and so I'm just baking cake, courgette cake, of course. It's the season for courgettes. It's not actually my courgette. I'm still being gifted courgettes from neighbours on the plot. And with the going of Stephen is also potentially the going of my coffee grounds. He is the coffee drinker in the office, so I've got my last batch perhaps of coffee grounds, and what I just thought I'd do is feed the blueberries because they're fruiting. I thought I'd give them a boost, and then I'm just going to mulch them with the coffee grounds. Coffee grounds are good for things like blueberries that like acidic soil, ericaceous soil. So I don't know, sometimes you read things and say it's a bit of a myth and there's actually not much left in the coffee grounds that would do anything good, but it is still a mulch. It's still something that's protecting the surface of the soil, so I'm going with it. So I'm just going to do that, and then I could lift the onions. I've just frozen the blueberries, not blueberries, the gooseberries, so I could lift some onions. And you know what, I've still done no July sowings. They're still all in the basket. Things got a little bit busy, and I'm away this weekend, so tonight might be my last opportunity because I'll have to edit this video Saturday morning, ready for a release on Tuesday. I'll actually be back by Tuesday. It's only a short visit, so don't come rob me. But yeah, I don't know that I'm going to have much time, and by the time I get back then we're into the sort of last days of July. Remember I was saying, oh, in a few weeks I'll be opening up the folders again to look what needs sewing for August and September. Well, I might as well do them all together. Yeah, so much for my, I'm just going to do a little bit every day. No, it's going to be a big sew binge again, which, to be fair, is my personality. So, right, blueberries then. There we go. Thank you to Stephen for his coffee grounds, for being a great colleague, but also for being a real champion of this channel. I mean, he did tell me yesterday that he doesn't watch till the end, but he does watch every video and like them. So thank you to Stephen, and we'll be missed. Talking of generous colleagues, one of the things that I got yesterday was a am I American? A bootload of cardboard from Helen. So I took that straight down to the allotment when I got back last night, and then I have did she say 4 bags and a box of rabbit poop due today from Jay. So it's a good haul these last couple of days. So you know, they all deserve some chocolate courgette cake. I really was winging it on this recipe though, as in I didn't use any recipe, so it could be a complete disaster. That's what happens when you suddenly think at 6:30 in the morning, I should bake a cake. And the light in my oven isn't working, so it will be a complete mystery until it comes out of the oven whether it's worked or not, so keep your fingers crossed. Right, let's lift some onions. So I've got my one I picked the other day that is definitely a bolted one. There are definitely bolted ones here. These are pretty bolted as well. These ones look like they've flopped, so let's try one of those. Also, first proper go with the new hori hori, I think. Okay. Try not to take too many carrots with them. Oh, actually, they're lifting really well without the hori hori. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, wowzers. That's kind of more than I'd hoped for, actually. Oh, so pretty. Most of my onions are red. There's some white ones that Mark gave me and I planted late on the allotment. I think everything in the home garden is red for some reason. I think they might all be electric. I'll perhaps check the labels as I go by. But yeah, that's amazing. Okay, see what else. A little bit smaller, but definitely an onion, and firm. Now these ones are my ones that I sowed from seed, so they've still got a really long way to go. You can see how small they are. What else? We should have some around this side, shouldn't we? Oh, look! Ah, do you remember the tomatoes that I planted in the corner of the carrot beds? Wow, it's producing fruit. I've given no care at all to these tomatoes. They've just been left to their own devices, because these are the Latah, L-A-T-A-H, so they are a determinate, so they bush out anyway. So I'm just going to let these do their thing. This nasturtium has gone crazy though. How's it over there? Carrots are looking good though. This is the second sowing of carrots. Again, I have not thinned. Right, onions. Okay, let's try not to break the tomato. Oh gosh, there we go. Right, there we go, there's one. Let's see if we can get a close-up of this one coming out. This is bolted. Yeah, you can see, but still not bad. Ooh. Focus. That's little, but that'll still be good eating. You just have to be careful. I think I said yesterday with bolted ones, because they won't store as long. Right, what else? Have we got any more in this bed? Oh yeah, there's a little one. Oh, and that's one's flopped over. There we go. Little onion. Any more? No, that might be be it for that side. Right, here's some bolted ones. Oh yes, I mean, look at that. Yeah, that's a classic bolted, isn't it? Where you've barely got any kind of bulb at the end at all. You can see the difference between the two there. So that's interesting. That one really has nothing at all on it. It is all root, no bulb. And then those are tiny. And that one has sort of come off the edge, weirdly. Right, let's go check on. Now, well, one of the things I'm wondering about is because this is a very dry bed. I've talked about that before. So that might be the case here. They just weren't getting enough water. Oh, we've got these ones. A lot of the rest have bolted. It'll be interesting to see how then the ones from the front garden compare. So let me head out there. Well, I have to admit I'm a little bit disappointed. I think the way they looked in the ground made me think they were going to be a lot better than they were. I wonder if that very dry May that we had just did them in really, and I should have watered them more. Okay, so we've got 2 baskets of bolted and 1 basket of potentially ones that could be stored, but I mean they're not going to be stored that long anyway, because I'll get through this amount of onions perhaps fairly quickly. So that's definitely the first one that I picked, was definitely the best, and then these are fine, but yeah, they haven't got their tops, so they're not going to be that easy to store, I don't think. That's probably a bolted one as well. And then all the bolters, I mean there's some pretty big bolters, but also just little small ones. What I might actually do is just chop them all up and freeze them. Could do that. Not going to do it now though. I also pulled up the last of the garlic. So this is the hardneck garlic that was from my cousin's garden, that just kind of naturalizes and grows there. And yeah, actually, you know, there's a couple of fairly nice bulbs there. They're pretty small, but I'll add those to the drying rack. Well, that's a job ticked off the list because they really did need to be lifted. So I better check on my cake and take off the gardening dungas and put on some work dungas. It's good to have a uniform. And then I will see you at Woodbrooke a little bit later. The chocolate cake was a success, which I'm very pleased about, so I'll try and put a kind of recipe in the description. Just checking. Doesn't seem to be anybody about in the vegetable garden, so let's have a quick look, because it's been, has it been a couple of months since we were last here? So let's see how things are coming along. Oh, and I've got a medlar tree here. I've noticed this before. There's some medlars. I made a great medlar kind of honey syrup last year from the tree in the community orchard. I might have a go at that again this year. Right, let's see what we've got then. So this looks like broccoli's calabrese, but nothing heading up just yet. Oh, here's the verbascum, or the mullein, is that how you pronounce it? Look how tall it's got. Wow! So some of you were chatting about this in the comments from last week's video. But there you go, there's quite an established patch of it. So this must be the common mullein. Yeah, oh sorry if I've not got your handle to mind, but the veganic gardener, I think it's something like that. She was saying she was going to use this medicinally. It's good for respiratory issues and asthma. Some lovely roses and alstroemeria there. Look at all this alstroemeria. Oh, I wish mine would. Oh, and look at these heleniums. Wowzers. Look at the colour of those. Oh, and bees are enjoying them. Here are the leeks. So last time we were here, these had just been put in and puddled, and now they've filled their holes. There we go, proving it works. Because I've never done it before, and my leeks still haven't gone in, but they're probably ready to go in now. Some beetroot, some empty weedy beds, but then some, what I'm guessing are courgettes. Some kind of squash, weedy bed, very weedy bed. What I'm guessing is a volunteer potato. Wow, a real jungle of tomatoes there. I wonder if they are determinate then, and they're just bush ones. I can't see any tomatoes yet though. These could be kales or kohlrabis. I think kales, because if they're kohlrabis, they have very much not bulbed up. And some more brassicas on either side here. Anything inside? No, nothing as yet. More leeks. Some corn and some dahlias, some more tomatoes over there, and here we have courgettes. Definitely courgettes. There we go. There's one growing. I wish my courgettes would grow. Someone was saying on Instagram to not compare yourself too much to what other people have got growing, and it's one of the sort of dangers of social media. But I also think it's a bit of a danger of being on an allotment plot, because I am tending to compare what's on my plot to everybody else's, and I don't have the excuse that it's a different region, because a lot of the things I see on Instagram and stuff, I think, well, they're down south, so yeah, they're a bit ahead of us. But you can't say that with people on the allotment, can you? But as I commented on this person's Instagram, patience is a virtue, and I need to practice that. Things will start appearing. Nice big plants. And then runner beans. Oh, and some beautiful dahlias. So my runner beans are doing a lot better than these ones. But I feel bad saying that. Like, it's one thing to compare and feel bad that you're not as good as another. It's probably worse to compare and then think, "Wah, I'm better than you." Ooh, Look at those. So they're like hazelnuts, but I've never seen them red before. Oh, I'm interested in that if anybody knows. Yeah. This kind of thing on it. Very interesting. And this is the sort of mad bit of the garden, which is just, well, so very lush. The cardoons have got very tall. Some of them have flopped over a little bit. They probably had high winds in Birmingham too. Flowers not quite coming yet. I can't remember if I said, but I did just bouncing into them. I did plant a couple of oh gosh, sorry, trying to get by them there. I did plant a couple on the allotment that were in the garden centre for like £1. So they seem to be doing okay at the moment. Obviously it's going to take some time, I guess, before there is an impressive size like that. Rhubarb kind of finishing now. Oh, they've got these lovely dahlias everywhere. Now this at the back here with these gorgeous pinky leaves, well, they're kind of variegated, aren't they? Is, I think, an ornamental kiwi. So I put my kiwis in the garden last week, and I'm hopeful that they might have foliage like that, but I don't think so. I think mine will just be straight green because it's an actual kiwi and not just an ornamental. Just a quick look in the greenhouse. They've got some tomatoes. There's some tomatoes on that plant. I see you, tomato. And just outside the greenhouse is this absolutely enormous and beautiful fig tree. Look at it. It's right up. And then it has figs on it. I have to say my fig tree in the garden is looking exceptionally healthy and really full of foliage. As yet I haven't spotted any figs though, but yeah, I have had figs on it before, like 1 or 2, but I've repotted it this year, so it's got some fresh soil, but I'm keeping it in a pot because what I've heard with figs is that you do want to keep the roots a little bit restricted because that will make it fruit. Haven't found that to be the case so far, and a tree like that kind of belies that that advice, but oh well. I just saw, just back up a little bit, these are Astrantia. Is that right, Astrantia? I haven't got any of those. This one looks like it's gone to seed. Let's see if we can collect some of the seed. Are they easy to grow from seed? Is it possible to grow from seed? Pop it in my dungaree pocket. So I'm going to have a last little walk around the grounds. Yesterday actually saw a muntjac while I was having a little walk, so I'll pop that onto the screen because yeah, always lovely to see a little bit of unusual wildlife. But yeah, just a crow out here right now. But it's nearly the end of the workday, so have a little walk, go back up, pack up, and time to get home. I have a boot full of, not cardboard this time, although cardboard as well, but mostly rabbit poop. So my plan is to get home, go directly to the allotment and drop that off, and then get back. I really need to do some kind of sowing, I think, before. No, I'm not, because it does not make sense to sow new seed and then go away for like 4 days. So I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do, again, this is me trying to be accountable because I'm telling it you now, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to put on some of those brassicas because they're struggling in their little cells, and I don't want to lose them all especially being that I haven't sown any new ones in July yet. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home, I'm just going to make up a big batch of compost and really quickly, like, production line, repot everything into a new pot, watered in, and then that will be fine for while I'm away. Okay, right, let's enjoy this peace and quiet for a moment. I'll catch you at the allotment a bit later.